Hi, my name is Empty Pockets and welcome back to Pockets World. In this tutorial I'm going to show you the on-off toggle switch I use for nether portals. It is not my design. I came across this about 4 years ago and been using it ever since. The creator that developed this made 4 videos and I haven't seen him since. I believe it's worth showcasing. So without further ado, let's jump straight in and see what materials we need. We are going to need at least 14 obsidian for this build. It's a 3x3 is minimum the size of the portal, but I'm making it a 3x4. We're going to need at least 2 sticky pistons, 2 observers, 2 dispensers and a redstone repeater. What switch you have to fire this thing is up to you. Most people use a lever and a piece of redstone. For this tutorial I'm going to use a copper light bulb, a comparator and a button, which put together makes the T flip-flop. You're also going to need some solid blocks of your choice. You'll also need a bucket of water and a flint and steel. So let's get those into my hotbar. Now you may be wondering where I am. I'm going to be under the portal here. This is the little room I've made. When you get back and it's night time, there's monsters about and you don't want to fight them, you just want to get into bed and go to sleep. That's the hatchway up, but I'm going to go out the front door and show you what I've been up to. Now that's the entrance exit. And what I've done is put this on a circular platform just here. Made it sort of at least a little pleasing to the eye. Put down some path blocks, etc. And this is where we're going to put our portal, in this section here. Right, the first thing you need to decide is where you're going to put your portal. Me, I'm putting it on top of here. The next thing you need to do is dig a hole 1x3 and 1 deep, like this. You can have this longer if you so wish. I'll show you how to do that shortly. And you fill that in with obsidian. You go up a minimum of 3 each side. I'm doing 4. Then of course bridge the gap at the top, and that's the actual portal built. But now for the switch. I'm going to remove these so you see what's happening here. Put the copper bulb in that slot there. Coming out from it, you want a comparator. So when that's a light, that comparator reads it. Leave this block here. You don't need to do anything with that. And for now, I'm putting a block there and the button on it. I'll be changing that out shortly. Next, I need to dig out all these. So you end up with something like that. At the end here, where that block is and where the comparator faces into, you want a sticky piston. In front of that sticky piston, you want an observer. You then want a block of your choice on top of that observer and one next to it. You then want to put 2 blocks below that, so you've got something like that. Coming out of this block, you want to repeat it set to 3 ticks. And you want the last sticky piston to face upward in front of that repeater. You then want your last observer on top of that sticky piston, butt end facing this way. That's the switch. Simple as that. That's all there is to it. The dispensers go in each corner. One this side, one this side. This is going to be the dispenser with the flint and steel. And this dispenser will be the one with the water bucket. As I said, you can extend this lengthways if you want. And the way you do that is you add redstone dust for each block longer you want. If you want it 1 block, then add 1 piece of redstone dust there. If you want it 2 blocks longer, then you add another piece of redstone dust there, and so on and so on. Up to 15 redstone. After that you need a repeater in place, but as I said, you can only go 21 to 23 blocks in that direction anyway. You then put a repeater in front of that with the sticky piston there and the observer on top of that. And you want your dispenser to the side of that. So that increases the length that way, and you build your portal appropriately. Like so. I'm going to put this back to what it was. So that's the switch. Now to test it. In this dispenser closest to your switch, you want the flint and steel. And the one next to the observer, you want your water bucket. If you switch that on, you'll see the water blade fires out from this dispenser. If you switch it again, you see the portal light. Now let's turn that off. What happens is when the portal is off, this lamp is on, sending a signal into this comparator, which pushes this piston forward, and the signal from this observer travels through this block into the repeater, into this piston which goes up and down, which you've just seen, and fires this dispenser, causing the blade of water to fire out and draw back in again. When the copper bulb is off, this draws this observer back again, firing a signal into this block, into this dispenser with the flint and steel that lights the portal. That's how it works. It's very simple. So all that's left to do now is to decorate this thing and make it look better than this. However, before I do that, this worked in Java. Quite happily worked like this in Java. So if you want to leave that back open, that's up to you, but I usually cover it up. However, in Bedrock, this dispenser with the water in needs a solid block on top of it. Not a transparent one, a solid one. Otherwise, it will fire, but it won't draw the water back in and you end up flooding. With that block there, what happens is the piston will come up here. This will receive a signal firing down into this dispenser and pull the water back in. That's the only difference between this Bedrock and Java. You need that block in Bedrock. So, I will bring you back in once I've decorated it. Right, the build is done, so let's go take a look. I've tried to make it look a little imposing, but try to also keep it fairly small at the same time. Don't want anything too big up here. So this is the portal itself. I've changed this out for Blackstone and put a new button in there. It worked in action. There we go. That is the portal. I've stuck soul sand or soul soil, one of the two, behind these trapdoors and lit them. That's the light. I've made the middle section nether theme and come up with something fairly quick. Everything's Blackstone apart from the tiles here, which are deep slate, but I thought that'd look rather nice on there. So that's my build done. And if we want to ever go in quickly, this is the way down. And that is Hell's Gate. If you found this tutorial useful, please leave a like and certainly make some comments. I'd like to hear your views. And also consider subscribing if you want to see more tutorials or let's plays. My apologies for being off sick, but these things happen. I will come back to a full schedule soon once I work one out. So until next time, take care. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye.